have no idea what other IPs there are that they haven't touched or they haven't alluded to.
I think I have a decent one. It's at Dragon Ball Z.
How was you guys' MagicCon?
They made us stand out in the heat for like an hour and a half.
I have mixed feelings.
But I mean, when I pulled up, I could not believe what I saw. Like, it was just
Gets bigger and bigger every year.
beyond my expectation.
It was stand around and wait simulator
Yeah.
for more than I felt I paid for.
So I stood in line for 7 hours just for artists.
I'll just say this. I know a person who spent most of their morning buying 4 boxes worth at cost.
If they paid the normal price for Black Lotus and sold the packs, they've already recouped the cost of a Black Lotus pass.
And made $2,000.
in the first morning.
Yes.
And made $2,000. Does no one at Wizards have an issue with this? Or are they okay? You know what I mean?
Well, it's not okay. I guess how did we get here? Supply and demand, right?
So these things retailed for what, 300? That was the
MSRP.
right?
MSRP is for
400.
460, and then it was $38 for a pack. So that was pretty accurate.
Okay, so the MSRP, let's say about 450, 460, and then pre-sale prices. So even just like, I don't know, what, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, you could have been buying these for like 800. Does that sound about right?
Yes.
About 800 bucks. And then 4 weeks later to about today, these things are about $1,200 after taxes, maybe $1,250.
We were sitting down and playing, and one of our friends came over and was like, I was looking at the cards, and this one guy asked, how much is that collector's box? And the guy said behind the counter, $1,000. And my friend was shaking his head, is like, I can't believe people are gonna buy that for $1,000. The guy instantly bought it. And we were like, wow, that's crazy. Someone just bought a box for $1,000. And then come to find out, end of day, it was going for like $1,200. So that guy technically made $200 off of market. Kind of
in
wild.
one day, you could say in one day the boxes jumped $200, right? In one day the packs jumped from, I don't know what people were paying for them before, 40, 50-ish or 60-ish, and then they jumped to
60-ish, yeah.
60-ish, and they jumped to, I was seeing them at vendors for 100.
Yes, $100.
So in one day packs jumped 40, boxes jumped 200.
I mean, it's wild where you can go to one floor, buy it at MSRP for $38.99, and go downstairs and sell your pack for $70.
Oh, arbitrage. You guarantee buy it at this price, and you can go sell it to someone who's offering more.
Crazy.
I mean, is that how you want to spend your time?
No, obviously not. But my thought process was, one, there's cards I want to acquire.
Sure.
So I'm going to immediately take those cards, turn my money into a multiplier of what, 1.2 or something like that. Take my money, and then here's my packs on top of what I got for the event, and then I traded those away.
You just got what you wanted.
And I got what I wanted, yeah.
But, I mean, I guess the question is, why are people willing to spend $1,200 on this box? I can't think of a box that came out. And remember that this is standard legal. Okay, so these I know we're not talking about play boxes, but we'll get to that maybe later. The play boxes, these are going to be presumably in print for the next at least 2 years for the full life cycle of the product. These play boxes are already at $200. I checked it this morning. They're $220 for a play box, a standard legal play box. To put that in perspective, Bloomburrow is one of the best-selling products ever. It's one of the most popular boxes right now. Those are $130. In standard will be in print for a while longer. $130 for a standard box, $220 for also a standard box, but it's Final Fantasy. We're talking about almost like a 50% difference here, and that's the play box. So clearly there's demand. A collector box, I can't remember a collector box over like 3, maybe 400 is like a big one. Like Phyrexian RB1 is a really popular one. I know it was like 2 or 3 years ago, but those are like $400. I mean, $1,200 within a month.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
How did this happen? Is it just people like Final Fantasy?
Well, Final Fantasy, I looked it up the other day, and the first Final Fantasy game came out in 1989.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're working with decades of history.
Okay.
So that factor in with scarcity and the set having 99 legends for Commander, right?
Yeah.
On
it
top
had
of
more
that,
than like what the last 3 sets combined or something.
and then some of these cards are very, very powerful. Not just, obviously they're going to have a lot of them, but a lot of playables and a lot of powerful cards for Modern, Legacy, Standard. All these sets have all access to all these powerful cards now. So, I mean, it's just the stars aligned with everything and brought us this very, very, I guess, rare specimen of a set.
So you say it's scarce. I don't know if I believe it's scarce. It might be scarce now. The question is, will it continue to be scarce? And the thing is that, I don't know, I would have to imagine that Wizards paid a lot of money for this IP. And so the question is, if you pay a lot of money for this IP, do you print the same amount that you print for, like, let's say Dragons of Tarkir? Or, because you paid so much money for it, do you print more product of it? And so the question is this bottlenecked? Are they only releasing like a little bit of amount at a time, and so it looks like there's a massive scarcity on this? The question is, how much is waiting in the wings, right? We've all seen them do these Amazon dumps. They put them on like cheap, like fire sale prices. They'll have like an Amazon day sale. I don't know if they'll do that with Final Fantasy, maybe not. But my point behind that is they have massive stores of product that we don't exactly know how much is out there. And the scarcity is hard to tell exactly just how scarce it is. Like, I can give you a good example of this. If you remember the first Neon card that came out was in Kamigawa Neon Dynasty.
Yeah.
They had those Neon ink cards, which they also have in this set. They have the Neon Chocobos.
Yeah.
And when Neon Dynasty came out, I don't know if you recall, those boxes spiked hard because everyone was looking for those Neon Higetsugo cards.
Yeah.
And they spiked to like 300, 350 within like a month. It was very explosive.
Yes.
Everyone wanted it. It had like Boseiju as well. It's a really good card. And if you look at them now, it turned out there was much more supply than people thought. It went all the way from like 300, 350 back down to like 200, 220 after the rest of the supply was released. And now it's like starting to slowly creep up. But the thing is that people didn't quite realize just how much was waiting in the wings. I'm not saying that there is this much in Final Fantasy, but it's a question mark.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is a question mark. Early on, even prior to them, it was hard to get people's orders in. They were canceling people's orders. So when they got
stores were canceling.
Distributors were canceling stores' orders.
Maybe because they couldn't get the product either.
Because they couldn't get the product, and it's still like that. The LGS that we frequent, they only have they're not selling any more product. They have play boosters, but they're limiting it for their drafts only now. So they could up it and sell these packs for $12, $13 or whatever like that, the play boosters, but they're keeping them for their draft and selling them at MSRP so they can get the draft.
Do you think Wizards is creating an artificial scarcity?
I mean, I don't know, that's hard to say. I mean, I think everything is artificial scarcity. I mean, technically, but I mean, that's... Because they choose the print run, they know what the demand is, but they don't release the numbers. So it's like...
Do you think they ever will? Because previously they took away our MSRP, now they brought it back.
Yeah.
So...
I mean, MSRP has its pluses and minuses. When the product is worth a lot, when the product is really high, they say, well, the MSRP is much lower and people are just scalpers and they're selling it for this crazy price. And then when they get rid of MSRP, they complain and they say, well, what is it actually worth? We don't know what MSRP is. And then so like it has its pluses and minuses. It tells you what it might supposed to be.
But I think a lot of the arts, so people are chasing after some of the cards. There's that too, the collector aspect of it. People are like, oh, I like Final Fantasy. People went to these events just because of Final Fantasy, and then more of a drive. People went to MagicCon just because of Final Fantasy. There was a Square Enix booth. They had time slots for Square Enix. If you wanted to buy Square Enix swag, you had to go get a time slot just so you could purchase stuff.
What Wizards did for Lord of the Rings, right? They released Lord of the Rings in June 2023.
2 years ago.
They're following the same formula that they did. They released a set, a UB set, in the summer, and then they do another release in the holiday, which they did for Lord of the Rings, and they're doing the same thing for Final Fantasy.
Oh, they're gonna do a holiday release.
Supposedly.
Okay.
Supposedly, I think it's these gift bundles.
Okay.
Well, there was also there was a holiday. It was literally called holiday, like
Yeah, and then they had that second set too.
it was called special edition.
Yeah. So they're following a formula that worked for them, and they're doing it with an even. I'm not going to argue if it's more beloved. That's like a fan war.
Sure.
Waiting to happen, but the numbers aren't lying, right?
Yeah.
This is the best-selling Magic set.
Yeah.
You know, and people are buying. There's Final Fantasy fans who are buying cards of whatever they cost because they like that character. They don't care what the card does or how it functions in Magic. That's my favorite character. I'll pay $80. I'll pay $200. I'll pay whatever for the card.
Sure.
No one's doing that for anything outside of UB, right? Outside of Universes Beyond cards.
I mean, how many people did you see buy Doctor Who cards? I mean, Doctor Who is doing it did relatively decent. Yeah. When the first time it came out, I didn't think it was that impactful, but now, like, the print of it is very limited, and
it's hard to find.
Yeah. So now it's hard to find.
I mean, the Lord of the Rings question, and you talked about, you don't want to question which one's more popular, but if I just had to guess, I would have thought that Lord of the Rings would be, personally, a much more well-known. Like, there's movies, there's books. I understand. There's video games of Final Fantasy, but I think that Lord of the Rings has reached a wider audience overall than Final Fantasy would be my guess. And so to see Final Fantasy just completely blow Lord of the Rings out of the water, when I would have thought that would have been the stronger IP, is just very surprising to me. And also the other thing that's kind of surprising, well, I guess not surprising, but also another main difference, remember that Lord of the Rings was not a standard set. It was for Modern and Legacy and for Commander, basically. Whereas this is a standard legal set. So, like, you have to kind of...
First of its kind.
This is the very first Universes Beyond standard legal set. And it's wildly popular. And, I don't know. I don't know what viewers think between Final Fantasy versus Lord of the Rings. If you had to guess which of these IPs is more widespread popular, I don't know, I think that'd be an interesting thought process of how that impacted the sales here, but
team Final Fantasy or team Lord of the Rings? Comment down below. So they have a fan base that's rooted very deep into nerd culture.
Yeah,
and having access to it in a card is very cool. The collector to play ratio was very different back then. Now it's like, especially with Pokemon, it's like probably like 80-20, right? 80% collectors and then 20% players.
Would you collect Magic the Gathering if you didn't play it?
I want to say yes, just because I did, technically, previously. Because all we did was draft sets periodically when we weren't playing for the few years. We just, I'd randomly invite you guys and we get a box and then we draft it.
Do you think it's a collectible,
so collectible
card?
First. It's collectible first.
Yeah, but you can also, you can play games with it.
Play it.
Or it's a card game that you can happen to be able to collect.
I think it's the second one.
Okay. Okay.
I don't think, personally, I don't think I'd be interested in collecting the game if I didn't think the game itself was good.
Would you say you're more of a player or more of a collector?
I think I'm right down the middle. I'm at a point where I'm kind of in the middle.
Okay, Patrick?
I would say primarily player who likes to collect very specific things.
Let me ask you this.
I want to, believe it or not, I think I'm more of a collector than a player.
Interesting. How would you know the difference?
The amount of money I spent on my Magic cards.
Okay. Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. Okay? Are you playing all the cards that you have collected? The cards that are in your collection, are they in your decks right now?
Absolutely not. No.
Okay, just...
That's a good thought.
But I don't think I would have collected those cards in the first place if I didn't like the game. I think Wizards is at a really interesting crossroads here because now they've seen just how popular Universes Beyond can be. it is the most popular thing to date that they have done. So now you have the question, do you continue to make Magic lore, or do you just pay the money for the IPs and charge a higher price? And we know that they can charge a higher price because look at what people have been willing to pay. So they already have the data to confirm that people will pay the higher price as long as the product is engineered correctly and they have characters that people want to play with.
I forgot how Lance premised it before, but do you have superpowers if everybody has superpowers?
So, this is kind of a tangent, but it's going to full circle around.
Okay.
So, I kind of think that there's an issue here. And the issue is that this is I think Wizards might have the Disney problem. And the Disney problem is this. The Disney problem is that Disney was characterized through a few things. Mickey Mouse and princesses and princes. That's how Disney claimed its territory for decades. And then what did they do? They bought Marvel. They bought Star Wars. And now they do all this other stuff that is not Mickey Mouse, that is not princesses, and it's not princes, or at least not the way it used to be. They have like new versions of that, right? And so what used to define Disney doesn't define it anymore because they're too broad. They've branched out so much that it's not exactly its original definition. And I see that this is what's happening with Magic in a sense, that Magic was originally Phyrexians. It was Planeswalkers. And now, with how popular Universes Beyond is, we might start seeing a drift away from that. Because now, one of the most recent sets that was extremely unpopular was Aether Drift. Aether Drift, the concept of it was Planeswalkers and cars. So stupid. It sounds like a Jerry Seinfeld show. Okay, so why risk making a flop set when I could just pay money to another IP and guarantee that people love those characters?
Saturation. It's like I premised earlier. Like it's not special if it's the same thing every day, right? Marvel had a bunch of movies. They did very well up until recently. Then they all started flopping. It wasn't special anymore. They had the formula. It worked X amount of times, and then it's been saturated, and now the market's like, hey, you need to give us something more tangible, not just, a Marvel movie, right? So now they want Marvel and X. They want Marvel and this. They want something more. So if they kept doing every single set Universes Beyond, from my perspective, it would be, everyone has superpowers. It's nothing special. You can fly. Okay, I could teleport there. It's faster than flying. It's nothing special anymore. So that's my perspective. If they have a Universes Beyond every single set, but it's not going to be something special. It's going to be the same thing that they were doing before. Going back and forth to these like normal sets, these universes, well, I guess Magic universes, then Beyond, gives us, it's the tide. It's a high tide, it's a low tide. Sometimes you want different things to happen, right? So that's just my perspective. Hopefully it's not always Universes Beyond.
But the collector packs are, as a shooting of this video, collector packs are 100. Booster, the box is 1,200, right? Do you see these prices going up or down or staying? And why?
Okay, here's the way I think about it. Let's say the box is $1,200. I'm going to go with the $1,200 box. Okay, let's say they're $100 a pop. I always kind of think about what are the alternatives. Okay, so if I have $1,200 to put into Magic, I could also buy a minty Gaia's Cradle for like $1,000. So if I had the choice between a reserve list card that's like 20 years old, or a brand new 2025, just brand new printed of like some characters that are pretty cool, where do you put the money? I don't know. Like, to me personally, I'd rather you could get like two dual lands, 3 dual lands for $1,200 Really, you'd rather buy brand new 2025 Final Fantasy than like tried and true cards that are literally like 20 plus years old that are legitimately scarce and hard to find? I don't know. I personally don't, to answer the question, I don't really see how it holds this price personally, especially if I am right and there's a bunch of product just waiting in the wings to come out. I would have but I also didn't think it would go over $800. I thought $800 was insane. And to see it at $1,200 is just like to the moon astronomical to my brain. $1,200 is like rent. Bro, you could like pay rent. That's like 2 car payments.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is not like a booster box of $100. It's $1,200. This is rent or something. This is... I really don't understand what we're seeing. It does not compute in my head. I can't see it going higher personally, but crazier things have happened.
To interject on your argument, a year and a half ago, cradles weren't 1,000. Right? They were like 5 or 6.
Okay.
So you can say like you could move and get a cradle instead, but like the cradles went up too.
Yeah.
So it's the same. The boxes might go up too.
They might go up.
If there's a correlation.
In the 5 years from now, I think 100% they'll be worth more than what they are now. I shouldn't say 100%. Not financial advice. Not guaranteed, but I would imagine 5 years from now they'll definitely be worth more. But in the short, like in the 1 to 2 year time period, will it be more than 1,200? I find that very hard to believe.
You think it'll go down?
That I think it will go down.
I remember how it usually happens, right? A card pre-release stuff happens. A card, you get the card at pre-release, and it shows on TCG Player, it's $50, $60. You're like, oh, the prices are inflated. Stores will not take them at that price because it's inflated. Fast forward now pre-release prices were skewed cheap prices. They weren't $50. Now this card is worth $200.
Yeah, some of them have gone up since, yeah.
Unprecedented again.
Yeah. Now, again, to just be fair, that wasn't most cards. It was some cards, right? It wasn't like everything. It wasn't like across the
board.
It
was the surge foils.
It was the surge foils
for sure, and the clouds.
It was the hard stuff.
A lot of the stuff has gone up. Any playables, the Dark Rituals, they were like originally like $30, $50, and then the price just went whoop to like $100. Rhystic Study, obviously. Anything playable that's seen play, the prices at pre-release were pretty much the cheapest it was till today. Now it's gone up. And it's typically, it trends down.
I didn't even think that the collector box, 77 Chocobos, like imagine like what they could have done. They could have done like the most insane stuff. They could have done like Final Fantasy 7 clouds. Right? Like 7 clouds. And then 9 is, I think VV is a 9, I believe. 9 serialized VVs. Like, people would have, like, lost their minds, okay? 77 Chocobos. I know the Chocobo is, like, this cute little bird, and people like the cute little animals. But they could have really gone crazy with it, I think. And I think that what they did was actually relatively tame of what they could have done. So...
Do you mean, like, business-wise? Like, monetary-wise?
Yeah.
Profit-wise?
Yeah, profit-wise.
Okay.
But to interject, it's... The special edition Lord of the Rings. How many One Rings are? They had the Elvish ring, they had the Dwarven ring.
Yeah,
those are serialized.
Those are cool.
Yeah,
those are cool.
Yeah. But what's to say like about them coming out with a Christmas special with Beyond Cloud 9?
Okay, well let's wait and see. We'll see what they do.
Those packs. Those special edition packs are worth $178.
I'm in the camp that it's gonna go up.
Okay, within a year or two.
No,
Let's make an estimate for Christmas.
It's gonna hold, and I think 3-4 years time, it's just gonna go up. I don't know if you remember back in the day, like you familiar with price memory?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So something has been a price for so long that people don't remember why it's that price in the first place, but It's just stuck there now.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of what's going to happen with these collector boxes. They're going to just be 1,200. Packs are going to be 100. Years are going to pass. People are going to forget why they're 100, why they're 1,200.
Okay.
And if they want them, they're going to be even more scarce, and they're going to be worth even more.
So these could very well go up in price
They could.
and hold.
Can I? So, not exactly the best comparison, but somewhat similar. Original Commander Legends. Absolute blowout set. Amazing. What is it? 2 years later, they made Commander Legends, I think it was Boulder's Gate. Commander Legends Boulder's Gate.
Mhm.
Everyone saw the name Commander Legends. Thought it was going to be the best product ever. Comes out, product was a complete flop. It had very few cards of value in it. The collector boxes literally went from $300 to $150 within a month, or maybe not a month, but they bottomed at $150. Just because the first one was successful does not mean the second one is successful. Yes, it happened with Lord of the Rings. It could happen with Final Fantasy, but just don't go all in. Just because we've seen flops in the past, and you don't know.
Yeah.
Is Universes Beyond good? Do we like Universes Beyond? The one thing I do like about it is I think it's brought a lot of new players to the game.
Yes,
And so
that is the number one thing I do like about Universes Beyond. I saw a friend who hasn't played Magic, and he literally just came back to play a pre-release for Final Fantasy. So Universes Beyond, I'm very happy that they're bringing in other people, which was their goal and then their intention. Whether it be, people that don't like it and want to keep with original Magic, the dragons and the goblins and all that stuff. It's gonna be here, and I'm the type of person if you can't beat them, join them, and I'm all for it.
Sure.
So I am happy with this Final Fantasy. The prices, I know people want to play the game still. It sucks that these are the prices and the scarcity is that. But have fun with it, I guess. Just don't spend $1,200 on a box. Go buy yourself a dual land or two.
Or three.
Yeah, for me, I'm for Universe Beyond. I'm for whatever brings more players in. And for me personally, when I can get a card that my friend wants and I can give, even if they don't know Magic, and I could go, I got this card for you from a game I play, and they're happy about that and they're thankful. And that makes me happy that this UB set came out, right? That makes me for more UB sets.
I have a love-hate with it. I like how it brings more people. Probably from a gaming perspective, I think since Magic has been around for so many years, I think it is getting more and more difficult to come up with new mechanics. And I could see how Universes Beyond could inspire new mechanics, I believe the Saga creatures. I think that was basically inspired by the Final Fantasy lore, the summons, right?
Yeah.
So I could see how the universe of that IP could create design space in Magic for things we've never seen before. And so that, I think, is probably, to me, the most exciting part about it, is new design spaces. So it brings new people, it brings new popular designs, or possible designs, which those are both great. Things I might not like about it. I think it does have the Disney issue. It's I like Disney for Disney. I like Magic for Magic. I never got into Magic because I liked Final Fantasy. I got into Magic because I thought the game was good. Well, I guess if they can keep the game good, as long as they keep the mechanics of the game good, maybe the IPs don't really matter in the end, personally to me. Would I prefer it to be more traditional Magic, D&D type style? Most likely yes, I would say yes to that. The other thing, and this is even the most objective here, is art. I like that kind of old school, gritty, dark art, and the Japanese style art tends to be the exact opposite of that. It's
Brighter.
very bright, it's very colorful, it's lighter, it just has a different feel to it, and I know a lot of people do enjoy that.
Do you think if there is an IP that Wizards can do next that will top Final Fantasy, that they can realistically do, right? That they discounting Nintendo, discounting Disney, is there an IP that Wizards can partner with that can compete or top this Final Fantasy set?
You said discounting Nintendo. I mean, literally the first thing that came to my mind was Super Mario. I literally think Super Mario would be the coolest thing ever.
You know, you do know why they can't do Nintendo, right?
Why can they not do Nintendo?
Pokemon.
Why Pokemon? What does that?
There's already a Pokemon card game.
Okay.
Do you think realistically they can make a Pokemon UB when there's already a Pokemon card game?
I know, not Nintendo in general, specifically Super Mario. So like Luigi, all the Koopas, shells. I mean, Super Mario has an entire world and universe.
Okay.
in
Yeah, I do think Mario first, but then I also think Smash Bros. And all these characters, and a lot of them are Pokemon. So it would be very, very difficult for them to crush that threshold. They can keep it separate, but that's up to the freaking lawyers and all those people.
Now, there's the argument that there already is a Final Fantasy TCG.
Yeah.
So why can't you also just put Pokemon characters inside of UB, right? But to compare the Final Fantasy TCG to the Pokemon TCG,
Right.
There's going to be people who are going to be like, there was a Final Fantasy TCG,
Yeah.
right? So I don't think you can really make that argument.
It's a different scale.
Right.
100%.
So Super Mario, any thoughts?
Oh, no, I would.
You'd pick Smash Brothers.
Well, that's because
Smash Brothers minus the Pokemon.
Yeah, because you have Metal Gear in it. You have Zelda. You have Link. You have all these Nintendo characters, right?
The thing is that that's more of a medley, right? That game's like a medley. It's a combination
that is Nintendo.
Yeah, it is Nintendo, but it's not. Yeah, like I think of like the roots, right? And the roots, the originator,
Yeah.
the progenesis, it was Mario.
It was Mario.
It was Mario,
But this is my thought process also. People want Halo. They're gonna have 5 cards, right? If they do Mario, they're gonna have 4 cards. They're gonna have Bowser, Luigi, Peach, and Toad.
Dude, there's so many characters, but yeah.
Yeah, but still, there's 13 Doctors, and
Yeah.
I mean that IP is not that brought some people, but it didn't bring like the international crowd.
Yeah.
And if they're gonna do Nintendo, they would have to do more than Mario, right? I mean, they can. I have no idea what other IPs there are that they haven't touched or they haven't alluded to.
I think I have a decent one. I had a good one, and now I just thought of like an even better one. So this is shout out to my friend Seth, who thought of this one that's good, but not a better one. I think he said Dragon Ball Z. Right.
Oh, okay.
We grew up with Dragon Ball Z, so it's around the people who have, the disposable income of whatever people our ages, can spend on these UB cards, right?
$1,200.
Grew up with these. There's a long list of series that it's in. There's just like Final Fantasy. There's a long list of games that it's in, right? Just like Final Fantasy. It has Eastern and Western audiences, just like Final Fantasy. There's a plethora of characters, just like Final Fantasy, right? So it has all the same. It has the same recipe, right? But is the fan base there that's the same, right?
Like overlap?
Yeah.
Is it too much of the same people?
Well, even if it's too much of the same people, that's still a good thing too, right? Like,
yes. Well, it depends on what your goal is. Is your goal to bring new people? So if your goal is to bring new people, you might want an IP that appeals to a different audience.
Well, it depends who you're asking what their goal is. If you're asking me if I'm Wizards, my goal is to make money.
Yeah.
Right? So.
But bringing in more people is more money.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you guys for joining us here. If you guys have any questions, please comment down below. If you'd like to support us, there's also that down below. Please support us on the Patreon, and you can support us like these cool people. The tried and true patrons. Starting off with our Tier 2 content consumers, we have Big Yoda, Marcus, Dylan, Troy, and Turd Ferguson. Moving on to our cardboard cutouts, our Tier 3 patrons, Wall,
Matt and Albert. Thank you for your continued support. If you would also like to support the channel, please head to patreon.com/cardboardcontent.
See you guys next time for more content.